He is short, bald, and he got a look that you might easily see in onsen. But his business skills are beyond our imagination. A man who is always looking for new things while postponing his retirement. Today we will be talking about the richest man in Japan, Masayoshi Sun. Masayoshi was born in Kyushu, 1957. When he was born, his family was poor enough to live in an unlicensed shack. His parents raised 4 sons including Masayoshi by selling fishes and making wheat wines. Poverty would be the worst form of violence. But his parents finally got lucky when Masayoshi was in middle school age. His family got rich by running a pachinko business. Currently a pachinko market in Japan is about 30 trillion yen, equal to $270 billion. And 80% of pachinko in Japan is also known to be owned by Koreans in Japan. Since his family got the money, he decided to study abroad in United States. Although he was only 16 years old, he could decide to go abroad because of Den Fujita. Fujita was a president of McDonald's in Japan and one of famous CEO in Japan at that time. Masayoshi wanted to meet Fujita so badly before he moves to United States, because his favorite book was written by Fujita. But it seemed to be very difficult for Masayoshi to meet one of the best CEO in Japan as just a teenager. Masayoshi called Fujita's secretary every single day to say that he wants to meet Fujita. Of course, Fujita was not interested in meeting a young random guy. And needless to say, Masayoshi was rejected every day. Since he got rejected every day, he flew to Tokyo from Kyushu and called secretary. He said, "If you let me stay in the Fujita's office for just 3 minutes, I'm happy with that." He promised to secretary that he will stay next to Fujita without eye contact and no words from his mouth. A secretary asked Fujita, and surprisingly Fujita allowed 15 minutes meeting with Masayoshi. This was one of the most precious times in his life. Fujita advised him, "The computer business era will come, so prepare." Masayoshi kept those words and went on to study in the US. Now this may sound too obvious, but it was 1974. It was a time when most people didn't even know what a computer was. He studied economics and computer science in UC Berkeley, where located in near San Francisco. But a crisis comes to him. His father in Japan got sick and his support was cut off. And even at that time, the prices of San Francisco were so expensive. He had to earn living expenses while studying. At this time, Masayoshi came into his own. He plans to make an electronic dictionary and sell it to another company. At the age of 19, he found a difficulty to complete his plan on his own, so he went to the engineering professor in charge at the time to suggest ideas and invited him to his team. Eventually, the idea created by a leading university professor and a student is completed, and the technology is sold to Sharp Company, making about $1 million. At this time, Masayoshi was only 21 years old. $1 million 40 years ago is a completely different weight from 1 million today. The success of this project led him to a successful study in the United States. After studying in the US, Masayoshi returns to Japan and do nothing but seeking for business items. After he spent 1.5 years looking for business items, he concluded 3 things. First, each individual will have a computer. Second, there will be much more variety of software needed for personal computers. Third, software development is already too advanced in the United States, so distribute well-made software will be more profitable than development. In 1981, Masayoshi founded Softbank. At this time, he was only 24 years old. After founding Softbank, the way of doing a business was totally different from others. In particular, he had God's eye to see the future and invest. There are 4 companies that we could bring up when we were talking about Masayoshi. Those are Microsoft, Yahoo, Apple and Alibaba. He made a partnership with Microsoft when it was such a small venture company. Softbank got an exclusive sales agreement for Microsoft products in Japan and made a revenue over $1 billion. Also, he invested in Yahoo when it was a deficit company, and he made Yahoo to be a #1 search engine in Japan. Later, he met Steve Jobs in person and signed an exclusive contract for iPhone in Japan. At the time, Masayoshi said that iPhone is everything about the future of company, and even changed the corporate logo from the original yellow color to Apple's color. This brings enormous wealth to Masayoshi, with Apple's mobile phone taking over 60% of Japan's share. Alibaba's story is also well known that Masayoshi decided to invest about $20 million in 6 minutes after listening to the presentation of Jack Ma, the CEO of a small company with 20 people at the time. The current value of his $20 million investment in Alibaba is about $60 billion, which was a huge investment that made nearly 3,000 times more profitable. Even Homer sometimes nods. Masayoshi, who is called the master of investment, is also seeing a cold reality recently. He established the Vision Fund, a venture fund worth $100 billion, and is making aggressive investments. In this portfolio, WeWork, Uber, and Coupang are included. However, due to the declining performance of companies such as WeWork and Uber, he has recently lost about $20 billion. While there are many criticisms that Masayoshi has lost his touch, and there are many opinions that he will stagnate in the future, Masayoshi is trying to put more money to invest. He created Vision Fund 2 and fundraised another $100 billion to show all in. So, what is the fortune of Masayoshi, who bets $100 billion for each bet? His fortune is known to be $26 billion. He is not into spending much money on clothing and food, but his housing is not in the same league. The mansion he owns in Silicon Valley is about the size of a Gatsby reminiscent. The purchase price of this mansion, bought in 2012, is about $120 million. At the time of purchase, it even renewed the highest US housing deal. This large mansion covers an area of 130,000 square feet. There are 4 large bedrooms in the house. It might be a little puzzled that this spacious house only has 4 bedrooms. Each bedroom has a separate living room, so I think one bedroom should be considered a penthouse class of a luxury hotel. In addition, it has 5 bathrooms, a swimming pool and tennis courts. In fact, Masayoshi had lived in this mansion and is known to have invested in many startups in the Silicon Valley area. His current residence, the Tokyo Mansion, is also famous for its amazing size. This mansion, which is estimated over $70 million, is located in the Azabu area, Tokyo's most expensive land. This has about 40 Japanese-style rooms, and there is even a space for golf practice in the courtyard. In addition, Masayoshi was on a headline for purchasing the Tiffany Building, a landmark in Ginza, Tokyo. As the name of the building, Tiffany's flagship store is located here. This building is a 10-story building located on the Ginza luxury shopping street in Tokyo. It is also a work designed by Kengo Kuma, a world-renowned architect born in Japan. Masayoshi purchased this building for about $300 million. At the age of 19, Masayoshi made plans for his 50 years of life and executed the plans without any errors. Looking at him, how about making a life plan today? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this clip, subscribe and get notified for more interesting videos.